Hi, I'm Gavin Hodgson, fly fishing instructor and manager of Granger's Fishing Tackle here in South Kensington, London. We're going to talk you through some of the techniques and tips and help you get started in fishing. Okay, how to rig a fishing line. Now there's many ways of doing this, but I want to talk about the basics of how to fish on the bottom, fishing bait, or how to fish at the surface, fishing with a float. So we'll have a weight and we'll have a hook, or we'll have a weight and a float, a bobber, whatever you want to call it. Tying the knots, I use the same knot at the swivel, which would go to our main line, at the weight and at the hook. The same knot, which is a clinch knot or a half blood knot. And if I tie the knot to show the knot, we will use something brighter to show you. Okay, so whatever we're tying on, like I say, there are a multiple of knots that we try not to complicate things with. If we stick with the same knot, the clinch knot, and count the turns. Through the eye of the hook, 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turn, 4 turn. For most knots and most nylons, that's enough. Through the bottom of the knot. The important part, which many people miss out, it's not as important on heavy monos, but on finer lines, this section here, the tuck, which goes back through the main knot, that will stop the knot slipping. So as we let that knot configure and tighten up, we always wet the knot, a little bit of lubrication to help the knot slide, and it stops it overheating, which would then cause the knot to be brittle. Once that knot's tight, you can see it is a barrel of turns. A barrel of turns of the nylon, and then when we cut that there, leave a little tag, which mono it cuts easy, braid it doesn't. So that knot can be used, like I say, to tie all of the important parts of the kit. Other things to talk about are the length, and this piece I've rigged here is very long. This would be the kind of length that I would use for beach casting. Very long sinker line with a shorter hook line. Now the idea of that is obviously the sinker is the main part, is going to load the rod, but when it's out there, and that's on the bottom, this is going to be freely bobbing around and hopefully is not going to be catching on the rocks and the weed. The weight is back down there. This should be somewhere just bobbing around the ground and not getting snagged up. That's the idea. Whether it works, who knows. When tying a float on, we can tie the same knots at either end of a bubble float. Now for beginners, this is such an easy float to use. There's 2 stoppers there, you see that? Undo both stoppers, stick it into the water, bring it up, it'll be half full, thereabouts, pop the stoppers back in, There you have now your casting weight and a visual float. So that will sit on the surface like that with your main line attached there and your hook line attached there. You can attach other weights on the main line, on the hook line, but to be honest, it's not necessary. We like to fish that and fish the hook with the bait and that to the rod, job done. Very simple.